Alright, so last time, or I guess a day ago, literally, I posted a video where I made a sustained comp to go up against Ganon, but I forgot to show my AI settings. So I'm going to do that right now, and for the most part, I kept everything mostly the same, but I did make a few changes that I saw were actually pretty helpful for Volty, and actually maximizing the effect of his Phantom Bullet. So after using that comp, I noticed that for this equip right here, True Joyce, it would have probably been better to replace it with Magna Arc right here. And the reason is because, of course, I could never really get him to, or use the AI to activate it whenever he needed it most, which was at the end nuke. Of course, he didn't need it at the end, but just having that extra 5% physical res that Magna Arc gives probably would have just been the safer run, just giving him slightly more damage res. Because, yeah, again, he did use the Joyce at the last moment, but he didn't really need to. So, enough of that, though. I could probably redo it with this comp and it would be the same result. But in any case, I'll go through which each of their settings were. And for the most part, hers was simple. I actually left out her multi skill here because it, even though it does give arc age, it does heal, and I found that it would heal Volty above his thresholds for Steel Arbitrator, and that would just lead to death. So I decided to just not use it at all. The team didn't really struggle for arc age with Emperor and Empress here, so I just didn't really need it. I also didn't have her cycle through normal art because she does not stack with Empress. They're the same uh, art gen type. So Empress, basically the same thing, just true art. Her user defense equip whenever the boss arts. You could honestly just change this to just be to just use the equip because Ganon is always arting, but this was just to like help Volty at the start because Ganon does burn and Mirror Hood does prevent that. Honestly though, I probably could have gotten away with using just a different item like Iris Bikini because it would have actually gotten him to near death. Volty didn't even have his Eternity passive up until like the end of the fight. So I guess just to be safer, I could have run something different. Of course, it's all, you know, done now, but just a little thing I could have changed. Emperor, he was also the same, sort of like True Art. Used his physical True Weapon whenever he's above or at 190 or above. I changed this because sometimes whenever I leave this to where it's 200 arc gauge, it usually sometimes doesn't even activate. So sometimes I'll make this 190, sometimes even 180, because they generate art so quickly that they'll immediately go use True Art and then they won't even use their True Weapon. If you wanted to, you could also delay this to where you would use it when maybe arc gauge is 20 or less, so that way after he procs his True Art, he'll actually proc this equip here. That's again, that's only if you want to, like, you know, try to make it so that it's more what would you call it, consistent in using it. So you could do that, you could choose the other way. It really doesn't really matter. I just use, you know, whenever he's 180 or more. So yeah, that just helped me out. You could just change it to be whatever fits, I guess, whatever you're trying to do or trying to make your units. Um, Here we have Volty. Now, yeah, there's a few things at the start here. So what I did was I made it so that his Phantom Bullet, of course, be used whenever the boss was at 10% or less. I added when the True Art's been used. This one, honestly, it probably doesn't need to be there, but I just added it anyway. And of course, when his arc age is 200 or more. And so what I found was the issue is that Volty will, as soon as he fulfills this condition right here for his Phantom Bullet, he'll keep spamming the Phantom Bullet. So I made this up here so that after, when Ganon is at 10% or less, he'll use his Phantom Bullet and then he'll use his True Art again to keep his taunt up. Because the last thing you want is for him to keep using his Phantom Bullet and then he's the only one who survives at the end. Honestly, I've already full cleared Ganon a very long time ago. I didn't really need to do this, but a no death clear is a lot better than a clear with deaths, in my opinion, of course. So I changed it so that it was like that. Of course, if the fight went on any longer, he would keep spamming the Phantom Bullet, but at that point, Ganon basically had no more HP, so I was able to actually get the benefit of the Phantom Bullet so that Volti could survive at the very end. And so down here, I also set his equips to only be used whenever the boss was 10% or less. If you're using Magna Arc, you could honestly just get rid of these. You don't need them. I saved this. He didn't need to use his Sandstone True Weapon, like, at all during the fight. Because he already has, like... Okay, so I'm going to ignore this. This is the Magna Arc passive. So let's just pretend this passive right here is 10%. So with this and this, he'd have 40% damage res, which he had. He'd have 10% from True Joyce, which is Light Celia's True Weapon. He would have the 10% from Sandstone's True Weapon, and 5% from from Force Keratos. And with the 5% Elemental Cheese, Volti's sitting at 85% damage res, which is pretty good. With this, he would have been at 90%, which of course is better, and probably would have just, I don't know, it just would have been better. But for the most part, he wasn't taking any damage from Ganon's attacks because Emperor had his true artifact up the entire time. So with that, he was at 105% damage res. And of course, with Empress occasionally using Little Red Riding Mira, yeah, there was nothing stopping him. So I just wanted to use or implement his Phantom Bullet so you can get the buffs from that without it being a detriment. Because right now, for all Phantom Bullet units, except Priscilla, as soon as you start using it, they'll just keep using it. And I know you could set like timers. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I'm not really gonna go into that because then you end up using most of your actions just trying to like maximize the Phantom Bullet, even though you really shouldn't have that. We should just be able to just have a mixed arts thing, but just have mixed art and true art and mixed Phantom Bullet, because it's not cool the way it's set up right now. So hopefully they update it. And yeah, actually, before I end here, I'll quickly showcase the Nuke comp for Ganon, which is right here. So the whole thing was pretty straightforward. Milim just used her equips, arts, Priscilla to use her true arts, use silence. Sorry, oh my god. Dignify silence whenever she's below 20%. I mean 20 arc age. I actually have arc age up level 4, so she wouldn't have used this at the start, which is good. So if you have even just a regular level 4 crest, as long as you put for the AI, so I use it when she's 20 arc age or less, she won't hurt herself, and they won't stop themselves from getting the buff from this. So it's good to keep that in mind because it could really help you out if you're trying to get the most arc age for your team without having to detriment for any sort of nuke comp, because any and all amount of arc age helps in terms of that. Benimaru was simple, just use all of his equips and his true art, and I believe Hao was the exact same way. So yeah, it's very simple. Again, this nuke is pretty basic. I already had uploaded it, so if you ever want to see, if you wanted to see the AI set for that, that was the AI setting. So thanks. I'll definitely like show my AI settings so that you guys can actually get a feel for like how I'm building my units before I take them into an event. Right now I'm actually working on a different event right now, so I'll probably upload that tomorrow just to showcase another like Crest Palace, but with an auto AI. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.